Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel. I'm Hanna, Evolutionary Astrologer. And if you like this video, make sure to subscribe. Today, I'm very excited to share with you something that I love to do. I love art. I studied art. I love going to museums. And now I get to look at the charts of the artists that I love so much that created some of the pieces that are just out of this world. And I get to understand, through their birth chart, through their natal chart, where is this inspiration coming from? What were they here to do and create? And what were they a part of? From a soul level and the style they're bringing and the innovations they're bringing. So today, I want to show you the chart of Claude Monet. And I'm just going to share my screen with you really quick. And I'm sure you know who he is. I'm sure you know who Monet is. He's extremely famous and recognized. His paintings are, everyone knows when they're looking at a Monet painting. And so he was a French painter. He was considered to be the founder of Impressionism. And he really was the face. He continues to be the face of Impressionism, right? So when we think about Impressionism, right away our minds go to Monet, Claude Monet. So I want to show you his chart and some of the influences here at play, especially from a soul level. What was happening? What was he, where was he coming from? And what were the things that he was bringing? And where was he, what were the purposes for this lifetime? Um, and one important thing before we start, just so you know, this is a solar chart, which means that we don't have the exact time Monet was born, so we can't really see the houses. We don't really know which planets were in each house, but we can still see a lot just by the position of the planets. So, we can start by looking at his south node. He's a south node in Leo. And this really means that Monet was coming into this life very rich, very abundant, very full of himself. And when I say full of himself, I don't mean that he was necessarily arrogant or entitled, but the fullness of self is like, I come in already with so much richness, so much creativity, so self-driven and self-directed and so rich, so much. You know, Leo is a fire sign. It's very much about doing, creating, manifesting, bringing things into existence. Um, so in abundance, like tremendous abundance within that he was already coming into this life with. And the ruler of his south node is the sun. It's that sun in Scorpio. And it's also a sun Jupiter. The sun and Jupiter were holding hands at the time of his birth. So this really magnifies his creativity. This is like a bigger than life presence type of thing because Jupiter is it's the biggest planet in our solar system. And the sun, I mean, the sun is the sun. It's the carrier of the light, right? We're all orbiting around the sun. So when you have people like Monet born with the sun, Jupiter, it really magnifies his presence, his creativity, his capacity to manifest, everything. Like it's that potential. Jupiter carries our potential. So it's that potential for greatness, for, huge vision, expansion and drive. And they're both in Scorpio, right? Both the sun and Jupiter are in Scorpio. And Scorpio magnifies this even more because it's where we're hungry, where we desire for more, where we want to, face our limitations and become more and get more and be more. So he's not only coming in very rich, if we look a little bit to his past lives and where he was coming from, we can see a lot of past lives where he was really developing himself, his skills, his creativity, and coming into this life very much with a vision. And he became very successful, right? Like he became very prolific. He became the most the most well-known impressionistic artist. And even the term impressionism comes from one of his paintings called Soleil, I think believe in French is Soleil Levant, which means I believe sunset. And when it was first shown to the public, right, the conservatives, the critics at the time, and the public, you know, they didn't get it. They actually made fun of it. They actually said, like, this is an impression of, what a painting should be like because this is unfinished. So at the time, this was not seen as, amazing as we know it to be now. So, if we go back to his son and the capacity here and the potential for tremendous recognition and being seen and being in the spotlight and being renowned and being very visible. We also see that scorpionic side of it, which is, you know, being rejected, being seen as being made fun of, you see this incredible, abundant, extremely creative person that at first is not recognized. He's made fun of, he's ridiculed by the critics at the time and the public. And it's a really important sign in his chart. His sun Jupiter are squaring his nodal axis. It's a very strategically positioned sun. And it carries so much of, what I've already mentioned, and really the potential of, and the really showing us that he was like the special, soul coming in, the with a special mission, with an important mission. And at a soul level, again, just being all of this being magnified, the special destiny person and being magnified by the Jupiter. Um, and then we look at his North Node in Aquarius, right? The North Node, I like to think about the North Node as the promise we make to ourselves before coming into this life. It is the North Star. It is where we're heading towards. And a North Node in Aquarius, it's very much about joining forces with other people, right? Aquarius is the group. Aquarius is like-minded people joining in and forming a group, forming a community. So from a soul level, he was coming in to be part of this out of the box, unconventional movement within the arts. It's very much about like bringing that revolution within the artistic world. But at the same time, he comes in with this strong Leo South Node and the Sun Jupiter, which shows that he was a leading figure. He was part of the group. That's the Aquarius. He was part of the group of artists, but he was also, he was part of something much bigger than just himself. But he was also part of the group. So we have, just another um, names that you might recognize is Degas and Renoir and Morisot. Like you have this group of French artists who really broke. That's the Aquarius, right? They broke academical traditions of the time because that's the mission of Aquarius. It says, I want to bring in something new. We got to think outside the box. We got to start the revolution and we need to upgrade. We need to elevate what's what's already being done, what's already being established. So again, in the beginning of the impressionistic movement, you have these artists doing something that was completely out of the box for the times, which was about going outside to to paint, right? So it was a new way, it was a new out of the box, avant-garde, right? Bringing in the revolution um, to the art scene. And the other thing about Aquarius is that many times what happens to Aquarius is that at first, because they're going outside the box, because they're not doing what everyone else is doing, they get ridiculed. They get ostracized. They are people look at them and say, "Well, you're a little strange. I don't get what you're doing." And this is very much what happened when the this group of painters, they actually created their first exhibit because they could not exhibit within the traditional ways at the time, and they were first perceived as rejects. It was actually called the exhibition of the rejects. But we know how much they ushered in a whole new way, a whole revolution in the artistic in the artistic world. Oops, I'm back to the first painting. And we also got to remember how important painting is at the time because we did not have internet. We did not have TVs. People did not own, photography was all, it was in the beginning stages. So people didn't have, a personal camera. They were not going out and taking pictures or looking at pictures as often and as regularly as, it became later on. Photography was a luxury. So paintings were also a form of entertainment. So it was really a big deal. And again, what they're doing here, it's completely outside the norms. And, you also look at, oh, I keep doing this. Sorry, guys. So we also see here his Mercury, Saturn, and Venus in Sagittarius, which Sagittarius is about a vision. So you have this, everything like here is amplified. The really interesting how the impression is including Monet, they would go outside to paint, right? It's called in plein air. So they would go outdoors to paint. And that's a very Sagittarius thing because Sagittarius is like, I cannot be confined to this room. I need space. I need to see the horizon. I need to feel like I have a lot of space around me. I have freedom. And they're going to be claustrophobic with that inside these, four walls. Um, and Sagittarius is also the natural world, the landscapes, the seascapes, which is very much what Monet was painting. He wanted to capture the essence of the natural world. And he was using strong colors. That's a very Sag thing, the brightness and the short brush strokes and it's very authentic to him. And Venus is art, especially in an artist chart, we really need to look at Venus because Venus is showing the arts. And he was a very authentic, he had a very authentic style, very Sagittarius, very, very unique to him. And taking risks, right? Being daring, really going outside what was perceived to be the norm and really expressing his own truth, his vision, what was meaningful to him. And the Venus is, very close to Saturn, 1 degree apart. And Saturn shows his mastery. He was known as the master of light and color. He was coming in already a master. And at the end of his life, he did a series of 12, I believe there were 12 water lily paintings. They were commissioned by the Orangerie in Paris. It's this museum in Paris. And they're huge. Let me show you guys the size of these paintings. They are so, so, so big, huge, like that large scale. They're designed to fill up the walls completely. And it's that bigness of Sag and the large vision, especially at an old age. He was already, when he started this project, he was already in his late 60s, and it actually took 20 years 20 years to finish this project. And he's sad, one of the things he said is that I wanted these paintings to be this haven of peaceful meditation for people, to really help with the wired, something like the wired nerves of the people, the visitors. And it's super interesting because his Uranus, which is a very powerful Uranus because it's the ruler of his North Node. And Uranus is our nervous system. It's very much about where we are wired. But it's in Pisces, which is about soothing. It's about quieting the mind. It's about going back to peace and silence. And you see here the mutual reception with Neptune as well. So mutual reception is when you have, two planets in each other's signs. So Uranus is in Pisces and Neptune is in Aquarius. So to me, it's about accessing this place of oneness, the vastness of existence through his art, through bringing beauty into this world, through nature. He painted, the majority of his paintings were nature, were natural landscapes, water lilies and water, it's Uranus is in Pisces, which is a water sign. Um, and it brings this almost this like technological way of painting because it was a new technology, it was a new way of painting. Of course, through, not the scientific in the lab way, but through the artistic world. And to me, the soul intention here, one of the soul intentions in coming into this life was about bridging the mind, Uranus with nature and these higher forces. That's Pisces. Uranus is his genius. Uranus is his brilliance, his technical skills. You have here a strong logical rational brain and a strong also intuitive brain, the spiritual brain. So highly likely he was also channeling something much bigger, tapping into something much bigger than just himself and, drawing from this, from this source of inspiration, but also coming together with his amazing skills. I mean, he's a Mars in Virgo, which shows his incredible skills, shows his talents, it shows his intelligence, it shows his detail, to precise the precision and the attention to the details and the high performance. It's like the whatever he's creating, when you come in with a Mars in Virgo, what you're creating is going to be high level. It's going to be a really beautifully well done delivery. And that's very much what he did. And then he also has a moon in Cancer, and a moon in Cancer is subjective. It amplifies the richness of his personal world. And, when a moon in Cancer feels good, when they have, when they feel comfortable, when they feel like they have what they need, when their needs are met, when they feel good, they are going to create something magnificent and something very unique to them. And if we go back to, even his first, I mean, not the first painting, but even the one that became, the face of Impressionism, which is, it was called The Impression because it was very much his impression of that scene. And this is what he was doing. He was going outside and he was seeing nature. He was experiencing nature and bringing in his own perception. That's very much, oh, I keep going the wrong way. That's very much the moon in Cancer. It's my own perception of what I'm seeing. And again, being part of, if we look at the movement in the Aquarius and, coming in to usher in that really new way of bringing beauty into this world in a way that's progressive, that's revolutionary, that's against the norms. But also, the dichotomy here is that it's also beautiful and intuitive and very simple. It's going back to the simplicity of nature, the landscapes, the sea, the peace when you look at those scenes and the boats and the flowers and the water lilies. They're just floating in the water and you're just soaking in that beauty and calming the brain and deactivating our the stress of everyday life. So it's that fusing nature with technology within the arts. And one last thing that I want to say is that when we go back to the sun, sun is our legacy in our charts. It's what we're leaving behind. We know he's a South Node in Leo, which is about his legacy. It is about his creations. And, while he was alive, all the things that he created, he manifested. So the Sun Jupiter, it's so much about leaving a legacy that is much bigger than just his life, than just the times that, um, the years he lived. And through his south node, right, in the Aquarius and the Neptune and the Pisces, his legacy transcended the boundaries of time. His work is as beautiful now as it was when it was created, and it will continue to be loved and adored and perceived as beautiful for, and cherished as such for highly likely many years into the future, if not forever. So the Neptune and the Uranus and this interaction, this dance between the Aquarius and the Pisces, it is about taking his creations, his work beyond time, beyond space. What he created into this, the gift he gave us, um, goes beyond space and time. So I hope you enjoyed this analysis. I hope you enjoyed these type of videos, and make sure to like it, make sure to subscribe to my channel. Let me know whose birth chart you would like to see next, and I hope to see you next time.